Hey guys, day 5 Iceland expedition. Um, been a decent day today. Tarmac mainly. We started out just around here in a hostel, just off the western fjords. We came along across this peninsula. Bad weather across here, windy and a bit rough. And then we dropped down and then went around here where it turned beautiful, beautiful blue skies. And then dropped down. We arrived in Akureyri. So a shorter day today. And the subject, a quick subject, sorry my voice is going. Quick subject today is planned flexibility or organised flexibility, because any trip, I think the tendency is to try and script it, to put everything in place, to build a framework of what you're going to do this day, that day, where you're going to stay. I mean, people do that when they're travelling on their own, and I think obviously there's a tendency, certainly when travelling in a group like we are, we've got 16 people. So obviously there's a tendency and a necessity half the time to really plan in, to book the hotels, to book the B&Bs, to give people the GPX, to give people exactly what they're going to get. But I think with Iceland, it's a real reinforcement of the fact that you can only do that so much. You can only plan so much, because ultimately you're at the mercy of the world, of the country, of the place that you're in. And that means the weather, the road conditions, fatigue within the group, just so many variables. And I think what's crucial is that you allow yourself opportunity and space to adapt the trip to suit what's going on. So if people are getting tired, you've got opportunity to shorten it, to ride further if you're feeling fresh, to do a different route if there's road closures. In this case, the F roads aren't open as early in the season, some of the ones in the interior, as we hope for. So we're having to make a different change, do a different route, still keep people on their toes. And so I think to take away this and offer it to you is to say, when planning a trip, research it, put in place flagstones, but don't think you can meticulously plan and always stick to that plan, because there is so many variables. And I think therefore one of the biggest skill sets that you can build upon or learn is just to have the confidence to move and fluctuate and adapt as you go along. I think when you're nervous, you like a rigid structure. I get it with people in the groups. They want GPX, they want exact timings, where we're going to stop for lunch, when. You get that certainly in the early days, and it takes a bit of time just to relax and to realise that the world is unpredictable. There are unpredictable things to navigate around, and as long as you have got the confidence to deal with that as you go along, then you can deal with any situation. And I think that, to me, that's the only way to travel, the best way to travel, and it's the safest way to travel, really, because you're allowing yourself the ability to adapt and to shift the trip to keep people safe, yourself safe. So that's it, managed flexibility. It's not always easy, certainly again with the group, but we're mixing B&Bs or hostels with camping. And I know that certainly in Iceland, the camping gives me the flexibility to change campsites, to go to a different campsite, or in the case last night, to book a hostel rather than a campsite. So that's how I've been able to do this. Put in flagstones, B&B, hostel, hotel, and then everything in between, flexibility. And that just allows the whole thing to shift and move. So yeah, certainly if you're in the early days of planning trips, try not to think you've got to put everything down in scripture, because scripture, when you're sat at home for months or weeks away from the trip happening, it's very different to being on the coalface, to being on that wet or windy road and thinking, that trip I planned for that day, the day I'd planned for this doesn't now work. I need to change it. And that's no bad thing. That's part of the adventure. So quick little bit video on that. But I think it's crucial. It's more important than bike choice or kit choice or anything else. It's about allowing yourself the ability to adapt to what you encounter, because the world is so unpredictable. Cheers.